Hey, what's going on, everybody? It's your boy Manny here once again. Welcome back to another WNBA lineup advice video for you guys here at DFS Zone. And before I get started, like always, guys, I appreciate you guys drop a like on the video. And if you have not, as of yet, subscribed to the channel, please do so down below. And do not forget to turn on those post notifications. This way, you do not miss any of my new uploads or live shows. With that being said, today is Sunday, August the 19th, 2018. We have the final uh, weekend of games here on the WNBA. Today is the last day of the WNBA season. We have 5 games. All 12 teams are playing in the slate, but FanDuel only has a main slate. Their main slate today is only 5 games. The earlier game, the game that starts at 3 between Connecticut and I forgot who was it, but Connecticut is playing earlier in the day. Connecticut versus LA. The Spark, they're playing at 3 o'clock, so that game is not on here. So the main slate is 5 games. So this is it, man. I mean, we pretty much know where everybody's at as far as playoffs, as far as where's everybody at, as far as how they've been playing. So I'm just going to just cut to the chase. I'm not going to go over anything major. We will have the live show. I am home today. I am going to do a live show. I'll be on at 5 o'clock for all of you guys. We'll discuss the slate, and by then I will have a little bit more information on where I'm really leaning to. But right now I got a pretty good idea of where I'm at, so I'm going to share that with you. I'm going to only give you the best plays that I think are the best plays right now. I'm not going to go over everybody, just basically the best plays, just like I did the other day, simply because it is a 5 game slate. It's going to be pretty lengthy, and guys know who have been following me, you guys know I can get very technical and can go really deep into players and so on and so forth, and there's no need to really go that long. So live show later, come on back, let's discuss it, and let's see if we can make some money today as well. First things before I keep going, I'm going to just show you, here goes the team stats for the teams against one another. You got New York, Phoenix here, Indiana versus Chicago on a back-to-back. They just played yesterday there was a very, very good game between both teams. They're probably going to be a little tired today, but they're playing again today. You got Atlanta at Las Vegas, got Washington at Minnesota, and there goes Dallas and Seattle. And down here is the opponent statistics as far as field goal percentage, 3 points, rebounds, and assists. I think those are the 4 major categories that I look at, and I look at also in the NBA as well, as far as opposition scoring on against certain teams. So that is something to consider. So you can always come back to this and look at it. I'm going to utilize this obviously to make decisions today. I think everybody should do the same, and we will discuss the slate a little bit better. More so later after I do my due diligence. So right now, at the present time, we have the first game, New York at Phoenix. I do have implied totals. I don't have implied totals for all the games, but in this particular game I do. We got 165.5 with Phoenix favored at home by 12. Again, guys, take into consideration this game could possibly be a blowout. New York has nothing to play for, but we know New York, just like Indiana, they're very gritty. These teams play hard. I don't expect New York to just lay over here, but definitely Phoenix has been playing better as of late, and they definitely are getting better at the right time. So definitely is something to consider here, that there may be a possible blowout here. They do have them favored by 12, so Vegas definitely does know something. Over here at the top, definitely Taurasi to me is my favorite play here. One of the best plays of the day, to be honest with you, at least looking at all the guards. But Diana Taurasi here coming in, 7,600. You pretty much need 37 from her, and she's averaging 34. You could pretty much see there, but she's been playing more solid lately. She's still turning over the ball quite a bit, and she's still committing too many fouls. But she's a feisty girl, man. She's an old veteran. She's in shape. She just loves to play. She's very competitive. 54 pretty much in the last game, 48 and 43. She had a 51 spot over here as well against Vegas. She's been pretty solid, man. 4 out of her last 6, 43 plus. Her average is 34, so she's been smashing her value as far as average, is concerned, and she's been hitting value. All right. She did have a 42 spot in 33 minutes versus New York the last time, and she put up 36 the first time around. So Taurasi is in play, definitely. Yep, 42 here in 33 minutes, 8 of 12, 7 of 11. I mean, she takes massive shots. She plays plenty more than enough minutes. Definitely, she hands down is in play. I like her more than Bonner today. Bonner is $100 cheaper. We know that Bonner plays almost every position for Phoenix, but she's been mostly starting in the 4 spot. At times early in the year, she was pretty much predominantly the 3 spot. But Miss Little and Miss Angel Robinson have lost their time to Miss Stephanie Talbert. So Talbert has been playing mostly the three spot, I think, over the course of the last 9 games or 10 games. And she's starting to gel in with the team now. And I guess they're going to stay with that format because it's so far right now, at least as of the last few games, that's been working. So Diana Taurasi in play, Dewana Bott in play. I like Taurasi a little bit better. When it comes down to the New York ladies, I'm not, Boyd and Hartley, good players. They get the same, consistent amount of minutes, and they pretty much are consistent as far as putting up 18 to 20, 21. Really no major upside for the girls. Hartley a little bit more than Boyd. But Sugar Rogers has been playing better, and she's actually $700 cheaper than Hartley and a whole $1,000 more cheaper than Boyd, and she brings that three-point potential also to the court. So 23 and 28 over the last 2 games, and 21 and 32 minutes respectively. That is not too bad. So Sugar Rogers, someone definitely to consider today. She has played 18 minutes versus Phoenix and only put up 9 fantasy points the first time around, but that was so early on when Sugar Rogers had played. So I'm not going to gauge it on what she has done with Phoenix, what she did with Phoenix way back in the season when she wasn't really being part much of the offense here. But now as of late, she's been playing, so we're going to gauge it on that. I think Sugar Rogers could be a possible play here at 4,900. Talbot in January, they play sufficient minutes and not bad plays, but they're not for me today. 49, 4,600, I think I can get better value and better upside somewhere else. They don't have tremendous upside. These girls do not put up 30, 35 plus for that price. So I am definitely fading them. But they do play most of the minutes. She starts as the 3 and she starts as the point. So you could consider if you're going to target this game, but considering this game is going to be almost a blowout, I don't think anybody should be targeting. Just stick to the studs. I think Taurasi is definitely a fine play here. I'm not on Nurse today. I'm not on anybody else here. Plain and simple. We go over to the forwards. It's plain and simple here, easy as well. Griner's in play. Tina Charles could be your best play for New York. But again, Tina Charles has been having a little bit of a back issue, and she hasn't looked that great as of late. She's capable of getting you 45, 50. She hasn't hit 40 in 3 games. Obviously, she was out this game because of the back issues. I think that might have hurt her with the 24 she got against Seattle, but again against Seattle, tough matchup for her, and of course another tough matchup against LA. It's not going to be no different today. It's going to be a tough matchup to go up there against Griner. So I think I definitely like Griner with fade Charles, but if you are looking for someone who's 7,800 and has the potential to get you 45 plus, Tina Charles is not a bad play. But Griner has been just grinding it out, man. She's been really, really good. Last, what we have here for Griner, 8,300. I love the price, man. After putting up the numbers she's put up in the last 3 out of the last 4 games, 51, 52, and 71. 51 plus in 3 out of the last 4 games. That's freaking incredible. She's averaging 40, so she's smashing her average. And she's at 8,300. You pretty much need about 41, 42 to cover price. And she's been averaging more than that in the last 2 games. So I see her in a fine position here against New York. She's had... quite don't see it here, but 35. Yeah, she had a 45 spot in 35 minutes, and she had 43 spot in game 1 in 37 minutes. So she is definitely in play here. And not only that, against New York, she's been averaging 59% from the floor in those 2 games, averaging nearly 8 rebounds and 40 fantasy points within the 2 games. So hands down, she's definitely in play. Come down here as far as value. I'm not on Vaughn. Definitely Stokes has been playing really well for New York. I expect her to play well today. She's going to need the battle. She's a big girl. She could go up there and battle against Griner. She 4,000, man. She's still, she hasn't gone up in price, even though she's been playing more minutes and actually been scoring. 28 and 41 fantasy points in the last 2 games. This is against Las Vegas, and then the last game against Seattle. This is pretty impressive. 10 points, 15 rebounds, 1 assist, 3 blocks, 1 steal. And look at the beautiful number here. No turnovers in 29 minutes against Seattle. That is fantastic work by Miss Stokes. So Miss Stokes is definitely in play for me as far as 20. She only needs 20 from her, and she's capable of getting a 20 or better. So hands down, she's in play. You could consider Rebecca Allen, but I'm not on her. I prefer the 4,000. Obviously, Little and Angel Robinson have been just faded out of this team as far as even minutes and time on the floor, with Ms. Talbot playing pretty well. Even though she's playing massive minutes, 25 to 30 or so plus for Stephanie, she's not putting up huge numbers. But that's pretty much where I see it in this game. Let's go to Indiana, Chicago. We pretty much went over these teams yesterday in the live show. It's going to be competitive again. I don't see no reason why it would be. The only concern is that both teams played, 10 more additional minutes yesterday in 2 overtimes. Yeah, they played 2 overtime sessions, additional 10 minutes. A lot of the key players played massive minutes. I did tell you guys yesterday who came to the show that Courtney Vandersloot was in play for me. Diamond DeShields was going to be in play for me. And I told you my sneaky play and my sneaky play for the day would be Tiffany Mitchell, and Tiffany Mitchell just was absolutely fantastic. I still see her doing well here again today. Again, these two teams that played each other twice, and Chicago has won both games. This is the third game of the season. Implied total that I have for this game, 168.5, with Chicago favored by 8. Again, it'll be competitive. You know, I like the backcourt always for Chicago against Indy, and I like the front court a little bit more for Indy, of course, with Candice Dupree, like I mentioned yesterday, and as well as Natalie Achanwa. So Vandersloot is the best play, and DeShields, hands down. Just like yesterday, I'm not going to change myself. And as far as Indiana, Erica Wheeler had a great game, put up 30+ yesterday, if I remember correctly. Let me just take a quick look. She put 33 and 38 minutes. She played very well yesterday. I still like Tiffany Mitchell more going into today, just like I did yesterday. Averaging 18, and she smashed that. She's had 32+ in 1, 2, 3 out of the last 4 games. You know, so not a bad price for her. At 55, I could see her still getting close to value. So Tiffany Mitchell is definitely in play for me. Kelsey Mitchell could come off and play well here. She plays usually a little bit better on the road. So K. Mitch is in play. I prefer Tiffany more. And, of course, Vivian's is always in play because she takes massive amount of shots and she plays massive minutes. And she didn't do too bad. I think she got just slightly under 30 yesterday. Yeah, but she played massive 47 minutes. I mean, that's a lot of minutes, man. But then again, she's a rookie. She's young. She's fit. 29 spot yesterday in 47 minutes. It is a little low for 47 minutes. I mean, she missed a lot of three-pointers yesterday, but she has that upside. She can get you 40+, so be on the lookout for her. I'm not on anybody else, man. I mean, Gabby Williams, not on her today, and not on Pondexter. I did tell you guys that Copper will be a play yesterday, and she played all right. She played several minutes. She played 26 minutes, put up 14 fantasy points, had 12 points from the floor. Needs to do a little bit more on the other areas, but she definitely shot the ball well and scored. So she's in play for 3,900. Why not? And that's basically it there for the guards. Forward spot, definitely Dupree and Achanwa are in play. Hands down. It's just, you know, Parker had a great game. She could be someone you consider, but Achanwa, $100 more. I think she's a even better play. And she played fantastic yesterday. She played 44 minutes, put 21, 11, 1, and 6 blocks, 53.7 fantasy points. She balled her butt off yesterday. And Candice Dupree was just on fire, you know. She put up 30 floor points yesterday, 47 minutes, 38, 2, 3, 1. What lines, man? Only 1 turnover in 47 minutes. That is fantastic. When you can turn over the ball just 1 time or none at all in that amount of minutes, that is fantastic work by Candice Dupree. So both of them are in play. Take your choice. Dupree is $1,100 more. If you want to save some money, definitely go with Natalie Achanwa. On the bottom end here, as far as value, we did mention in the live show yesterday, a lot of us were discussing Elena Coates or Erica McCall, and I said I was in favor of both of them. And I thought that McCall would probably get more minutes and play more. I had her in at least 2 of my lineups, and she did not get any minutes at all, man. Today may be the day that they may give her more minutes. But that was surprising. Elena Coates did play sufficient minutes, and she put up a fine, 18 fantasy points in 29 minutes. Not bad at all, because of the overtime. She ain't going to get 29 again today, 29 minutes on the floor. But she may, both of them are both in play. We'll see where we stand later on as a group as far as Coates and McCall. But again, maybe Coates maybe still has the upper hand here. All right, that's the end. That's all I think about in that game, man. We go over to Atlanta and Las Vegas. I do have implied totals for this one. We have 174 total with Atlanta favored by 5 visiting Las Vegas. Guard play here. You know how much I love Kayla McBride and Las Vegas, but Las Vegas is out of the playoffs. They're done. So I am definitely not playing Kayla McBride today. She is in play. She hasn't had great numbers against Atlanta. Atlanta is a little tough in the backcourt, and they've been tough in the backcourt like I've been mentioning for a number of games now. They've been tough on the backcourt and the frontcourt. I really like Atlanta's frontcourt players here against Asia Wilson, and in the backcourt, I kind of like only 1 or 2 plays here, man. Kelsey Plum may be a better play than McBride. The last time they played, McBride really had a tough time getting around double teams. They really worked hard on her, and she only put up, I think, 30 fantasy points or 31. McBride. She put Atlanta. Yeah, 34 minutes, only put 30 fantasy points. She got 19 points on the floor, but she really struggled in some areas in that game, and she did not have, a typical Kayla McBride game. She does have upside. She can get you 40 or better at that price. 7,500, you need 37, and that's a pretty hefty price for her in a matchup against Atlanta today. So I'm kind of fading McBride today, and I always kind of fade Hayes, but Hayes is a good, solid, cash play. She's pretty solid there. She gets you 25 to 28, maybe as much as 30 on the average consistently. So but she doesn't have a big upside either. She's not going to give you 40, 45 plus. She's not going to have massive games like that. Kelsey Plum could be someone to be sneaky here, even though her price is pretty high. I mean, you need 35 from her here, and she averages 20. So KP, I know the last time she played, she put up 40 plus against this team. Yeah, she did 45 in 37 minutes. She shot well from the floor, but look at this, 13 assists. This is uncommon for her. She doesn't put that up on a regular basis. I doubt she's going to do the same again today. So she might be someone to consider, but I still think her price is a little high. I do like Alex Bentley down here at 5,600. That is a nice price for Alex Bentley. And you can even consider Renee Montgomery simply because of the upside. But I'm kind of like these Atlanta players here, and I like Alex Bentley a little bit more. Bentley, 3 straight games. She put against Las Vegas right here, 42 spot in 27 minutes the last time out, 22 points from the floor against Vegas the last time. All right. And then the prior time before that, a 20 spot in 28 minutes. I like the fact that she's also been shooting 44% in the last 3 games and 47% from 3. She's averaging 21 fantasy points. And against Vegas, she shot in the 2 games 53%. So her shooting percentage is very, very good. I kind of like it at 5,600. It could be a very sneaky play for her today as well. I like Alex Bentley. Renee Montgomery is in play just simply because of the upside, but I like Bentley a little bit more. On the bottom tier here, the only one you can really consider 3,600 is Miss Jefferson. Again, she's capable of getting 15 to 20 minutes, and she's capable of getting you 1 fantasy point per minute. So that's the only thing that I like. I wish that she would get more time on the floor, but she doesn't. That's usually her norm. But 3,600, you only need 15. I think she could get you 15. On the forward side of the ball, A'ja Wilson, obviously, excuse me, is someone that you will consider. But in this matchup, man, I think it's a tough matchup for A'ja Wilson, man. It really is. I know they're going to go out and try to win their last game here at home, the last game of the season at Las Vegas, and the last game for the season in general. I mean, A'ja Wilson, 8,200, you need 40, 41 pretty much from her. And I don't know, man, 56 in the last game, fantastic against Dallas. But when she has played against Atlanta, right here, 29 minutes, 36 fantasy points, not really massive points. You definitely want to see 45 or better at that price. And Atlanta, the prior time, if it's here, and it's not, but I'm going to go here to my fantasy cruncher, and I don't think I even have her here because I really wasn't planning to play her, but I'm going to show you. I faded on Della Don and A'ja Wilson today in the front court, but I just want to show you these numbers. And Vegas against Atlanta. Yeah, she put 33 here on the 8th. Right, that's right. So she put a 33 up, and in the last game, she put up 36, and that was below value. 8,300 then, and her price now is 8,200. So yeah, she didn't meet value in the last game, and she was 83. So yeah, I think it's a tough matchup for A'ja. Again, she is someone to consider. I just think the matchup is pretty tough. I don't think she's going to get 45, 50, but again, anything can happen. We all know that in WNBA. That's just my opinion. Jessica Breland is going to be tough on her. Elizabeth Williams is going to be tough. These girls definitely defend. They had a rough go against Phoenix the last time out, but Jessica Breland, she did have a 40 spot against Las Vegas the last time out right here. In 20 minutes, she doubled her fantasy points. That is crazy. That's double the fantasy points. More than 1 fantasy point per minute double. So, I mean, it's incredible. 6, 11, 2, 5 blocks, and that's what she could bring to the table, blocks and steals. So they get careless, this lady can have a really, really big game. All right. So a number of things, about Breland too. She's shooting 63% over the last few games too. Her shooting percentage has been really good, and she's been averaging 31 fantasy points to 32 fantasy points per game over the course of those games. She shoots better on the road. That's another thing also, 43% from the road. And against Vegas, she hasn't shot that great, only 37% from the floor, but she has put up 30 fantasy points on average between the two games. The other person I really like here, and I like her a little bit more than Breland, is Elizabeth Williams. She's cheaper at $6,600. She's going to be $700 cheaper. You need about 33 to cover that. She's put in, she did have a 43 spot against Vegas the last time right here. 22-5, 1-4-1 again, just like Breland. A lot of blocks. That's what she brings to the table. A good defender. She has had 5 straight games at her average for the year or better. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Over 24 plus in 5 straight games. She's capable of getting you 40 plus, so he has that upside. And she has shot 54%. Okay? 54% against this team. So she's shooting very, very well. So I like Elizabeth Williams here. I like the fact that she can get some blocks. She's going to be tough, man. I think she may be a very nice play here. So Elizabeth Williams for me is in play. Carolyn Swords could possibly be someone to consider here as well. 4,300. You need 21, 22 from her. And, a game like this where you got two bigs like Breland and Williams that are very physical defensively, Miss Carolyn Swords is going to need to come here and help out Asia Wilson with some rebounding and so on and so forth. So this may be a good spot for her as well. When last time she played Atlanta, she put up 19 in 24 minutes, 8-9-1. Not that bad. So again, she needs 21-22. She can get you the 21-22, but she needs to play at least at 20 or better minutes. And she's going to need to battle here. It's going to be tough, but I think she can get you there. De'Erica Hamby, $4,100, $200 cheaper. She could be someone in play too. You need 20 pretty much from her. And she's been playing a little bit better again, but she played well against Atlanta. 22 minutes, 13-2-2, 18 fantasy. And again, they needed her because of these girls up front. So De'Erica Hamby may be someone, especially Caroline Swords. She has a tendency of getting into foul trouble. She gets into foul trouble. You can see De'Erica Hamby get more time on the floor and maybe get more opportunities. I'm not on anybody else down here. I'm pretty much there. This is pretty much a first look where I'm at with these games. It's a 5-game slate, so you definitely got to be very selective here in matchups. Washington, Minnesota. I don't have an implied total for this game, all right? And I don't have one also for the final game. So you could definitely check in on that about an hour. Maybe by the time we get back here for the live show, I may have some information on that. But as of right now, I don't have anything. Washington and Minnesota. So these teams have played each other twice, and they have split 1 game apiece. And that's pretty much where I'm going to leave it at. Obviously, both teams are in the playoffs. Christy Tolliver, not a bad play, 6,500. I mean, she's don't have a lot of big upside, but she's been pretty consistent. She's probably even a pretty good cash play for you cash players today. She's been at 30 plus in 3 straight games, pretty much 4 here, 4 out of the last 5 games, and that she's been above her average of 25 in 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 out of the last 6 games. So she's been pretty good. All right. Doesn't have huge numbers, but is pretty consistent. Last 3 games, she's been averaging 45% shooting from the floor and 37% from 3. So she's shooting pretty well and averaging 28 fantasy points per game. So she's averaging, as of late, in the last 3 games, she is averaging more than what she's been putting on all year long. So she's doing fairly well. She's better away at shooting too, 44% from the floor and 37% from 3, as opposed to at home, 41% and 33% respectively. And against Minnesota, she's shot 58% from the floor and 58% from 3, and is averaging nearly 30 fantasy points. So pretty solid. Christy Tolliver, I think, is definitely someone to consider today. I don't know what's the deal with Ariel Atkins, AA. Even if she's back, I don't think I want to pay $200 cheaper for Ariel Atkins, who's been out with a hip injury, than Christy Tolliver, or even taking Natasha Cloud at $100 cheaper than her. So Natasha Cloud, I definitely like as well. 6,200, you need pretty much 31. She's averaging 20. All right, she hasn't looked good in the last 2 games at 28 and 31 minutes respectively. She has put some really dud games out here, but she's capable of getting you 30 plus. All right, she did have a 34 spot against this team the last time, So let's see if I find it here. If I can find it here. There she goes. 34 in 34 minutes. Actually, the very last game here on the chart for FanDuel was back on June 7th, so it was a while ago. So, yeah, Natasha Cloud to me is someone to consider, man. I definitely like her here as well. She shoots better on the road as well. 43% from the floor and 43% from three. And against Minnesota in the 2 games that she's played, she shot 52% and it's been averaging 35, 36 fantasy points. Let me just double check that. I don't want to give you the wrong information. Natasha Cloud, Minnesota. The games were early on, that's for sure. Minnesota here, 34 spot in 34 minutes, pretty much almost 35 spot. And 2 games before that, a 32 spot. Yeah, she's been averaging like 31 fantasy points against this team, man. So she is someone to consider today as well. All right, and she's capable of getting you 35 or better. Simone Augustus, I'm not anybody else here. Monique Curry, maybe Tanisha Wright, simply because of Danielle Robinson being out and she's been playing. When it comes to Curry and Ruffin Pratt, either one is in play. Maybe more so today, Ruffin Pratt, especially than the last game she did play. You only need 15 from her. She's averaging 12 at 3,600, and she put up 20 spot in 20 minutes against LA in the last game out. So maybe they'll utilize her just as much minutes as Curry today. This game stays fairly close, and I think it will. It may be interesting to see how they utilize Curry and Ruffin Pratt, but I can see where Ruffin Pratt, I'll be willing to gamble $300 cheaper and pay up somewhere else and gets hopefully enough value from Ruffin Pratt. I think that she may be a fine play for you guys. At forward, Fouls, Deladon, Maya Moore, obviously Latoya Sanders, all in play. But I'm going to tell you right now, I am fading Deladon today. She has had a rough go against Minnesota. It's a tough matchup for her, and she's had rough games against Minnesota this year. So I am not on Deladon, and you know how much I love Deladon. She's a cutie pie and all, but geez, I just can't do it. At the same price, 81 and 81, Sylvia Fowles is right now a bargain at 8,100. She's a steal. This is a cheap price for her. I saw her price and I saw Brianna Stewart. They are very cheap today. 8,100, you need pretty much 41. She's averaging 40. I mean, that's just right in our alley, you know. And the way she's been playing as of late has been incredible, right? She went down to 36 fantasy points in the last game, but it was 24 minutes. She didn't play 30 minutes. She obviously got a little bit of foul trouble. But the prior games, look at these numbers. 53, 64, 43, 47. She's been really been stepping it up as of late. The whole Minnesota team, including the backcourt, has been playing really well against everybody. So they're going to be formidable here, surprisingly. Without a superstar backcourt player, they are going to be in the run, of course. They're the reigning champs. But I see her definitely having a great game here, man. She did put up, in the last 3 games, she's averaging 62% from the floor, averaging 48 fantasy points per game. Versus Washington, she's shooting 70% from the floor with 10 rebounds per game and 40 fantasy points within those 2 games. So she has done phenomenally well against Washington. Definitely love Sylvia Fowles here today. I hope she doesn't get into foul trouble. I do expect to put her in a few of my lineups. Then we have Deladon. Like I said, I'm fading Deladon today. Maya Moore, definitely someone that you can consider here. I just feel that Maya Moore, her numbers have not been really good against Washington, so I'd rather go with Fowles. If I'm going to pay, I might as well pay $600 more and take Sylvia Fowles than Maya Moore. But again, Maya Moore gets up for these big games. You know, these are games that, she wants to win. She's a really true competitor. She's been doing 35 plus in the last 5 games, and that's not too bad at 35 plus. 35, 38, 54, so 31, 2, 3, 4, literally 5 straight games. She's been at 35 plus, and that's above her average. So she's smashing at least her average. She was suffering with her field goal percentage, but her field goal percentage has improved over the last 3 games. She's shooting 57% from the floor and 52% from 3. But she has had her issues with Washington. She only shot 45% in the 2 games against Washington. That's granted again. This was very early on in the year. This was back in June. And terrible from 3. She only shot 27% from 3 in those games against Washington. But again, let's make note that was way back in June. And that was nearly 2 months ago. So I'm not going to take all those numbers and I'm going to gauge it more on how she's playing now. And I think that she may be a very sneaky good play here at 7,500 today. I mean, as far as those numbers are concerned, they don't look good against Washington, but she may be surprising today. So definitely keep her in mind. I definitely love Sylvia Fowles more. And when it comes to the Washington front court, I would have no problem with Latoya Sanders. 7,400. You know, she's had 27 plus or 28 plus, and she's hitting her average or better in 6 straight games. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 straight. All right, and within that span, in the last 2 to 3 games, she's averaging 44% shooting from the floor with 10 rebounds a game and 2.5 blocks on average, averaging 34 fantasy points. That's above her average. All right, against Minnesota in the one game, obviously it was way back. She was not really much of the involved in the offense or involved in the rotation back then. She only played 16 minutes and got 17 fantasy points. So more than 1 fantasy point per minute, and wasn't even a starter back then. Now she's a starter, so I think she's going to be a very surprising play today. If she plays hard, she can give Washington a really big lift here, especially if they are going to be tough on Delle Donne. So I definitely like Latoya Sanders as to be a very sneaky play here as well. Even though the price is not a sneaky price at 7,400, I think that the matchup could favor her. So Latoya Sanders definitely someone to consider. Down here on the bottom half, bottom tier players, man, it's just, I don't see a whole lot of value. Maybe Larkins. I don't know how many minutes she's been playing. Just looking right here, first look. 20. So much, too much choppy time, man. Yeah, maybe just Cecilia Zaldazzini, maybe for Minnesota at 3,700, and definitely for Washington, Tiana Hawkins is back. She's not a bad 3-point shooter. She gets some rebounds. She does a couple of things pretty nice for them. Look, in the last game, 18, nearly 19 pretty much fantasy points in 15 minutes. So I would say T-Hawk is definitely someone to consider at 3,700. And then I would say for Minnesota, Cecilia Zaldazzini. I'm not on anybody else down here. That's pretty much it, guys. Let's move on to Dallas-Seattle, the last game of the night. Could be a nice game to watch, man. The Dallas just got a little bit of their mojo back. We'll see if Seattle just puts a little damper into that, because Dallas has to go into the playoffs with some momentum, and they definitely got the big win they needed against Las Vegas. Maybe this will trigger them to get themselves going here. But where we at here, Dallas has, like I said, Dallas at Seattle. These teams have played each other already 3 times this year. This is going to be the 4th matchup, and Seattle has won 2 out of the 3. Both games, all 3 games were kind of bit of the high scoring. We had Seattle win one game 91-84. That was a pretty high scoring game. They did win one game on a blowout 97-76. So they've been averaging over 90 points in all 3 games. That's one thing to take out of the 3 games. Dallas won their game 94-90. So that means Seattle scored 90, 91, and 97. So definitely expect a high-scoring game here. They don't have implied totals, like I said, but I'm sure the implied totals will be in the 170 or high 170, close to 180 range for this game. We know both teams definitely love to score a lot of points. Okay, looking at guards, man. Skylar Diggins-Smith, Jewel Lloyd, Sue Bird, and Alicia Gray. I'm telling you right now, you're going to be surprised, but as much as I love Jewel Lloyd and Sue Bird as a combination, I am liking in this matchup more simply because they've had more success. I like Dallas backcourt in this game, and I like Seattle's front court over Dallas. That's where I'm leaning at right now, just at first look. Skylar Diggins-Smith, I know for a fact, because I didn't take her in the 2 games that she did well against Seattle, has killed Seattle this year. All right. She's at 7,300. That price is not too bad for her. You need 35, 36, maybe 37. I would say about 36, 37 from her. She's averaging 35, so the number is just about right, and she's been in that range pretty well. 42, 32, 31, 48. 3 out of the last 4 games, or pretty much 4 games at 31 plus. It's not too bad. All right. Has 50-point upside, as we know. She's capable of getting a 50 or better. All right. Versus Seattle, she put up a 53. Let's see if we have it here. 37 minutes, a 53 spot. Okay. And she put up 30 and 35 minutes. And then the first game is not here. The first game, she put up 50 in game 1 in 37 minutes. She shot against Seattle 50% from the floor and 31% from 3, and shot 81% from the free throw line, because she got to the free throw line a handful of times. All right. Averaging 42 to 43 fantasy points. That's definitely will top her average and will cover this price. plus she has 50-point upside. I definitely like her. She scored a total of 130 fantasy points in 3 games against this team. So she seems to have Seattle's number. So I like Diggins Smith here in this matchup. I'm fading on Lloyd and I'm fading Bird. And I would probably consider Gray as well at 5,400. She is averaging 29 plus over the last 3 games. She's starting to get her shot to go down. 32, 34, 40. We know these girls take a lot of minutes between both teams. The 2 backcourt mates definitely play a lot of minutes on both sides of the ball. Seattle does it with their 2, and so does Dallas. And she's been doing 29 or better in 3 straight. So she has been playing really, really good. Probably the best basketball Miss Gray has been playing in a long while in this season. So I like Alicia Gray here. 17 and 28 minutes against this team the second time around, and the first time around 22 points in 28 minutes. Not massive numbers, but her shooting has been pretty good. 46% from the floor and 36% from 3, while averaging about 22 fantasy points against this team. So Miss Gray at 5,400 could be a nice play as well. Definitely love Diggins Smith. And that is basically it for the guards, guys. I'm not on Canada, Whitecomb, none of them. Forward, it's plain and simple, very simple for me here. I love Cambage, I love Stewart, and I love Howard, but I am banking on Stewart and Howard. Look at Stewart's number price is not bad at all. 8,200, right? So you need about 41 from her. She's averaging 42. That's below her average. The price is perfect. These are beautiful numbers. Sylvia Fowles is cheap today. So is Liz Cambage. And so is Brianna Stewart when I get to Stewart in a moment. Cambage. We know she has 60-point better upside. She did that the last game. All right? I mean, we really don't have to discuss much about her. 30, she put up in the games against Seattle. She put up a 30 spot in the last game. Right here. 29.8. Then in game 2, she put up a 42 spot, pretty much a 43 spot, 42.8 in 36 minutes. And in game 1, she played 34 minutes and put a 40 spot. So, I mean, she's averaging, pretty much like what, a 38, 39? I would say about 38 fantasy points per game against this team. Not really severely high, but she has the upside. What I like also is that she shoots better at home, okay? She shoots better at home, unfortunately, but she's on the road. So, it's a tough spot for her there. That's the only drawback. That's why I'm leaning more towards Stewart. That's what I want to get at. But 57% field goal percentage versus Seattle and 40% from 3. She only took in about 3 or 4 threes, and she's hit a few. But the big thing I saw out of this when I looked at the 3 games that they have played is that she's only averaging 7 rebounds a game against this team. And that's because of Natasha Howard and Brianna Stewart battling up there. So, I mean, it's going to be a tough go for Liz Cambage. I think her price is just, pretty much like a little bit of a steal for me. But this is even a bigger steal. Brianna Stewart, 7,900, folks. You cannot pass up Brianna Stewart today. She's hands down on my freaking list, and she's probably going to be one of my core front court players. Brianna Stewart coming in here, 7,900. You need about pretty much 39, almost 40 from her, and she's averaging 42. She's averaging more than what the asking price is. It's crazy. She's put up 50 and 52 in the last 2 games. Hey, you can't pass it up. She has 50-point upside. She can do that any given day. She's done that quite a bit in the last few games here, as you can see. All right. Versus Dallas, she's put up 51 in 35 minutes. In game 2, she put up 56 in 33 minutes. And game 1, which is not on here on the list, I have it on my sheet, 52 in game 1 in 34 minutes. So she's been averaging about 52 to 53 fantasy points in 3 games against this team. All right. In the last 3 games, she's averaging 48% from the floor and 63% from 3. Averaging 39 fantasy points per game during the course of those 3 games. All right. And against Dallas, she shot 53% from the floor and 40% from 3 in the 3 matchups. Averaging 9 rebounds more than Liz Cambage and averaging 1.5 blocks more than Liz Cambage. And 43 fantasy points per game. Hands down, she's in play, man, guys. She's in play. She is too cheap today. Natasha Howard, 7,400. Her price has not fluctuated a whole lot. And you know what? She is good for 1 fantasy point per minute per game. Like I tell you over and over again, she's just like Jonquel Jones and like Toya Sanders. These are the girls that are lean, athletic, tough, willing to dive after balls, willing to block shots, willing to defend, willing to rebound. That's what Natasha Howard is. and she's quick. She's quick. She gets up and down the floor real good. 20, and she plays minimal minutes. Look at this. Fantasy points, fantasy point, 1 fantasy point per minute. It goes on and on. Natasha Howard is solid. 6 out of her last 8 games, 31 plus points. She can get you 50. She can get you 45 to 50 any given night if she's playing well and the team is playing well. It can happen. She's a great 1 fantasy point per minute play, like I've told you already. And against Dallas, she put a 29 spot in 31 minutes. Where is it? Right here. And then the previous game before that, only 19 minutes. Didn't play a whole lot of minutes, but still put up more than 1 fantasy point per minute. Put up pretty much a 24 spot. And in game 1, which is not here, she put up 38 in 31 minutes. So Miss Howard and Stewart is a good play, and I like that as a team stack right there. I would take those two as a game stack, as a team stack. They're my favorite team stack of the day. All right. Come down here as far as Dallas. You know I'm not favoring these girls anymore, but Johnson and Stevens could all be in play. I kind of like Kayla Thornton, and only simply I'm mentioning Kayla Thornton as a sneaky play. She's my other sneaky play of the day. All right, guys. 5,700. You need about 27, 28. She's pretty much averaging 20. All right. She's been close to that 20 range over the last few games. But versus Seattle, out of all the front court girls, she's had the best success. She's had 30-minute game, 30 points in 37 minutes. She put up a 28 spot in game 2 in 30 minutes and put up 16 in game 1 in minimal minutes. So Kayla Thornton has had the best success. We know she's capable of hitting threes. All right. So I definitely feel that she could be someone that could be a surprise play here today. So definitely at 5,700, she is someone to consider. We get down here to lower tier. As far as value, maybe Clark. I like Thornton. I just definitely love Stewart and Howard for Seattle. I don't see anybody else there. If you want to go value down here, maybe possibly Crystal Langhorne if she gets some minutes. I don't think Teresa Plaisance is going to be in play. So, I mean, that's pretty much it, guys, man. I hope I gave you enough information for you to at least work on your lineups. Like I said, that information is here. Make sure you look at this. I'm going to pause it there. Hold it there for a moment. And then we go here. We go to WNBA. These are the guard plays. Let me go right over to my pool. There's 103 players playing, and this is the pool, 28 right now. So you can consider any one of these girls. I think they're all in play, at least for me. The ones with the thumbs up are the ones I'm favoring the most. So we got Bonner, Taurasi, Vandersloot, McBride. You already know that I'm fading McBride, so she's going to be pretty much out. You got Diggins Smith, Tolliver, Natasha Cloud. We got Mitchell, Bentley, Rogers, Vivians, Copper, and Jefferson. And then we go to the forwards. I love Stewart. We got Cam Bages in play, Grinders in play. Sylvia Fowles is another one that I like. Maya Moore, Dupree, Howard, Breland, Williams, Sanders, Achanwa, Miss Thornton, Hamby, Stokes is a value play, and Miss Coates. Those are the best plays of the day, at least for me at the moment. So we got a 27-player pool right now. When I come back for the live show at 5 o'clock, we'll have this a little bit more narrowed down. But at least you have an idea and looking back here by pausing the video as you watch it. All right, guys? And that's pretty much it. So, again, I'll be back at 5. I'll let you know more or less what I've been able to find, and we'll take it from there. Okay? I'll see you guys then, man. Enjoy the rest of your day.